right. Thought I'd talk about some Wonder Woman. But first, voice is suffering a little bit. I'm sick. Yes, I went to the doctor. They don't think it's the virus. It could change if I get a temperature. So, I'm going to watch it. Going to take this week off and all that. And we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, might be fewer videos or whatnot, but I've got pre-taped stuff, and especially for the Mr. Nailsin Show, which will be Saturday, there's some stuff I pre-taped, which I had meant for the last one, but I ran out of room. So that'll be there. A Space 1999 review and some new segments. And hopefully I can get a new chapter of Bubba Stargone on that one. But I'm not certain that I can be able to do it because already my voice is not where it should be. So got to rest that. So there you go. That's the tidbit on that. All right. Patty Jenkins. Now, she doubles down on Wonder Woman 1984 theatrical release. There's been talk of just going to the streaming services, and even really serious talk of Black Widow going there. And I don't know that that's final at the time I'm taping this or not. But there's a lot of talk. Well, just do that because HBOMAX has been getting all kinds of content lined up for it, including Doctor Who in its current form. And I'm like, oh, they don't know, do they? But poor Wonder Woman 1984 was supposed to have already been released. It got pushed back for some reshoots and whatnot, and I got very, very nervous even when the plot leaked. And I think we pretty much know the plot now. And it's unfortunate in some manners, but then again, when seeing it all presented, it could still be a bit of a surprise for you and enjoyable. I've lately been feeling pretty good about it, most notably because of this woman here. Her statements I find very comforting here and there. Gal Gadot, and I do believe it's Gadot. People say, no, it's Gadot. Gadot, tomato. But anyway, yeah, she did this silly singing the Imagine song with just done. If you want to give out I hope everybody's being safe and clean and all that and healthy in this time of crisis and all that, that's fine. Leave it there. All this other stuff. And Imagine is always seen as John Lennon's best post-Beatles song. I just never thought that myself, and I don't agree with its seeming ethic within it. First off, it's instantly hypocritical and all that. But that being said, other than that, she's one of the best celebrity figures right now. For the most part, seems to do well with that. And she's been a fantastic Wonder Woman. And I've got faith that these two women can pull off a good sequel because Wonder Woman it's a beloved film. It was really the high point of the DC universe, which had a lot of falters. Some of the criticism, I think, is largely unfair, but I'm in the minority on that. And that's the way it is. So I really had high hopes. Please don't mess up the sequel. And I was worried it was just going to be this preachy nonsense and all that. And there's still some concerns there. And it might just be there's some of that in it. But it seems, and this is the thing I keep returning to, that it seems more emphasized because of the era we have of so many people pushing woke crap to where any kind of leftist message or liberal message or whatever is seen as that when it seems more exaggerated than it really is. And it's a terrible way to market a film. And so far, they really haven't done that. And that's very wise. There's lots of films, people, I didn't see Birds of Prey, I didn't see Charlie's Angels, but a lot of people that I respect said, you know what? All in all, it wasn't that bad. I saw it. It's not as bad as you would have thought it would be. It's just the marketing was something because the marketing was preaching misandrist and you know, that kind of thing. And it's a terrible way to market a film, especially when it's not really the point. When the point of the film is whatever its adventure story is, especially these action adventures, superhero and sci-fi stories. That's more of it, you know, and what's the morality of it? Well, good versus evil and good should win, you know, and that's basically it. And when it's just mostly that, and then you plaster it with this stuff to impress a few blog writers and media sites, and that's it. I mean, it's such a small, incredibly fractional, small element of market, and to the disservice of a massive amount of audience you could attract is just very odd. And This lesson has been learned, should have been learned time and time and again, but it keeps getting repeated, especially since, Ghostbusters and the like. But for Wonder Woman here, that doesn't seem to be the case, at least marketing wise. I don't really see it. I've seen people that I respect criticize the trailer and say it was ridiculous because it seems too much like magic. Wonder Woman is magic. It's a lot of magic, Greek gods and all that. So I don't find a fault with that. Some of the plot elements, and especially how Maxwell Lord is being presented here, that's not really him. That kind of bothers me, but it could still be very good, even though it's not the characters that I know from the comic books. Wonder Woman and Maxwell Lord has a very specific storyline because he's not a regular villain from her story. Cheetah is, most certainly. That's kind of her arch villain. That's her Joker, her Lex Luthor, if you will. But not so much Maxwell Lord, but the very specific storyline, which would be very controversial and would fit very well in the Snyderverse because it's very dark. It's something they could have done, but as it is here, I don't really see it. Maybe there'll be a scene that it ends up that way, if you know what I'm talking about. But still, it won't be the same story. This will be a very different one and probably very original in a lot of ways in its own path. So yes, the idea of releasing it because of all the delays, and now we're in this major crisis of the outbreak. So people are looking at it, and HBOMAX really wants material, and this might be a means by which they can still go with their debut, which is in May, I believe, supposed to be. But now, this crisis happened. So what do you do? And you can't get people to the theaters, and how much trouble the theaters will be in. Can they reopen in some aspects? I don't know. But anyway, this is comic book news, of course. Director Patty Jenkins doubles down on Wonder Woman 1984 getting a theatrical release amid news of the release date getting pushed back. A rumor surfaced that Warner Brothers was considering releasing Wonder Woman 1984 through video on demand and not in theaters due to the coronavirus pandemic. That has been the closure of movie theaters around the world. Following the initial rumor, Jenkins took to social media on Twitter to retweet a statement from Warner Brothers that said the studio confirms Wonder Woman 1984 will go to theaters and not streaming. Just yesterday, then saw a rumor that Warner Brothers execs were butting heads with Wonder Woman 1984 producers over releasing the flick on HBOMAX. Warner Media's new upcoming streaming service that kicks off in May. Okay, there we go. Meant to compete with Netflix, etc. Patty Jenkins makes it clear Wonder Woman 1984 will be released in theaters. Now with the news that Wonder Woman 1984 has seen its release date pushed back from June to August, Patty Jenkins, oh man, that's, yeah. I gotta wait so long. But it makes sense. I think that is wise, at least to try to maintain that release date. Patty Jenkins again takes to Twitter, where she also posts a cool new Wonder Woman motion poster. Only in theaters. We made Wonder Woman 1984 for the big screen, and I believe in the power of cinema, said Jenkins on Twitter. In these terrible times when theater owners are struggling, as so many are, we are excited to redate our film into August 14th, 2020 in a theater near you, and pray for better times for all by then. So she's got a point there. There is that this would help theaters to have a blockbuster superhero special like Wonder Woman to open there in the hopes that could draw a crowd to help these theaters. And of course, I would prefer to see it on the big screen. But they've been in trouble for quite some time. Superheroes are the only thing keeping the blockbuster movie business going. And by blockbuster, I don't mean the company. That's long gone. The big summer movie type deal. Mostly superheroes. Star Wars was supposed to be a contender, but, well, we saw what happened there. So the superheroes, and primarily Marvel, has kept that afloat. When that comes to an end, that's it. A lot of this will be very different, and I don't know how this is going to look, depending on how long this shutdown continues. And they'll suffer, and a lot of these entities might not be able to reopen. And then when the condition comes to, I actually like getting my movies on streaming, earlier, and so you got a lot of movies that are already on there. They just were released, even Invisible Man is already out, and the Bloodshot movie. So if something like Wonder Woman and Black Widow were to do that, that's a big step. And you say, well, it'll come back. Yeah, but there's a lot of unknown here. And so if Wonder Woman did that, it would be a big blow to the theaters. And of course, as an artist and as she wants her work presented, this is the intent. This is how she filmed it. She didn't film it for a television screen. That would be a different matter. She filmed this for the movie theater. So I perfectly understand her concern here. And also, there's a lot of people and jobs and businesses connected to this for this to happen. And it's understandable to try to maintain that rather than just go ahead and put it on HBO Max. We need HBO Max to be a big success, and we can do it with this. And then say, hey, we can release it later on theaters. If you've already seen it, you more than likely a lot of people just, well, I've seen it. I'll skip it. It'd be cool to see it on the big screen, but I'm going to skip it. Yeah, it could happen. In the meantime, where's Snyder Cut? Well, that's a whole other story. And that Snyder Cut would have been a great draw to for HBO Max, and that's been the theory going on, and they've kept it under wraps. And I think the reason, my theory running with this, is that yes, there was a multiple cut situation with Snyder Cut, and that he had actually done a cut that would have been more in tune with the theatrical release, but it would have been Snyder's version of it. But then the tragedy happened and he had to leave. And he gave that a Q&A session at his sort of SnyderCon that he did, where he explained that his original idea was shot down immediately before he filmed anything. So I think that it sounds like he wants to go back to that. Well, that's going to take some doing. So a lot of business of digital effects and stuff weren't all done. They probably were done. They just don't look like the ones that he wants. And he would have to redo that. And that would take time. Even additional photography, meaning you have to call people in to come film this stuff. And if that's how he wants to do it, and they may have agreed with him that they want this big, long film to be this, cherry on top to get you to subscribe. You'll get to see this thing. And it would be that, but rather than this sort of, a little bit better Snyderish version of what you saw in the theaters. That's not, they could do that. They could say, this is like a teaser for the real Snyder Cut, the ultimate Snyder Cut or something like that. But I think they would rather have this full one released on there so they can have all this content and this special, deal, make it a big event for HBO Max. But it can't, because he couldn't get those shooting done. Why? Everything is shut down. You can't have people come work on this now. And who knows how much work he has had done, but it clearly isn't done yet. And I think that's kind of the stumbling block. And so something like this happens, and they say, well, we could put Wonder Woman on there. Yeah, the producers aren't crazy about it, and neither is Patty, for legitimate reasons. But at the same time, I can certainly understand what Warner's is thinking about here. And business-wise, do they think they can go forward with their debut and just have some teaser and say, yes, there will be a Snyder Cut, and think that's enough, but they can't deliver it. You want to go in on May, and it's there. You sign up now, and you can be watching Snyder Cut, and they can't. So, and how long? Nobody knows, until this is declared, okay, you can go back to work, and it's safe to call people in to come film with Zach wherever, in whatever studio and all that. So that's a bit of a, once again, Warner finds himself in quite, this time, not really their fault. This is a matter of circumstances. I guess you can blame the Chinese government for lying about this, but still, natural disasters, in this case, a pandemic, and how to deal with this. And the streaming service is the future, and they're trying to get in on it, and they got a good shot of being king here, even against Big Daddy Disney, who seems to be imploding as we speak. Never thought that would happen, but the signs certainly seem to be there. And they just don't have the content for D+. But HBO certainly has a lot of content. They got it all, but they need these real great, treats and treasures that can lure you in, and something like, especially something new, and Snyder Cut is something no one's seen. People, yeah, we did, we saw them. No, that's not it. And that would be really great, but it's just not there yet, at least not in that form. But so the Wonder Woman could be a nice little placeholder till that's ready, but it cuts into what they tried.
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Oh, geez. Ran a little long there and got interrupted. Sorry about that. But basically, yes, I see both sides of this argument. I see Warner Brothers' business argument here for Wonder Woman could be a good placeholder and a draw for HBO Max with a Snyder cut that isn't quite ready yet for the additional photography that Snyder would really love to have in it, rather than just the state it's in now, to complete aspects from his original vision of the film. Okay, fine. But the problem is coronavirus happened. If it hadn't, he probably could have done this. He's finished, I believe, with his not Dawn of the Dead. I was going to say Dawn of the Dead 2. Yeah. Which maybe it is. I don't know. But Army of the Dead film. And so he could shoot these scenes and edit them in to the overall cut. There's all kind of rumors about what could it be. I mean, other than like the footage we saw, because I'm talking about things that were not to be shot at all. I'm not talking about what he did shoot. We've seen unfinished VFX scenes like Barry saving Iris and that sort of thing. That's probably already done for the most part, especially since I don't think you would need any new photography. You could, the visual artist people can complete it. But the Martian Manhunter scene and stuff like that, and if the scene of the death of Lois and all that's going to be put back in, that would require some photography that I don't think any of that was shot. It's assumed that that's what he's talking about when the Warner Brothers said that's too scary and dark and we don't want that in there, from the original script that he presented. Maybe so. I don't know. But it seemed like the overall plot about why Superman goes dark and all that sort of stuff eventually would be that. And this is the event that Batman is trying to prevent. Because keep in mind, this was supposed to be a trilogy of Justice League films, and this was one that gets the ball rolling. So, whatever. But he wants some more photography, and he's hinted at that, and that's what he wanted to do. And that seemed to be otherwise, it's like, why haven't we seen this by now? And I'm thinking that's part of the stumbling block there between the two entities. But at the point now of trying to get that done and in time for the May is impossible, because whatever, let's say he's already shot some stuff, but he can't finish because the outbreak. So that's the situation you're in. So Wonder Woman could come in for them. The problem there is, of course, you got to understand Patty Jenkins' position, and it's perfectly understandable. And so there it is. Warner Brothers has a strong slate of material, and to have something really exciting like Snyder Cut or releasing Wonder Woman early like that would be great for their debut of HBOMAX. But on the other hand, they have more material than Daddy Disney, and they can compete with Netflix's catalog of material. And you got a lot of people with nothing else to do. They're stuck and watching this stuff. Yeah, because by May, though, I'm hoping this is largely over. So, they're in a bit of a pickle. That's this time out of their control. Other things, they're interfering with Snyder's movies and whatnot, and Ayer's movie and all that. That did them in. That spoiled the pot, and they would have been in a better position had they not done that. But it happened, so there you go. All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Most notably, my comic book, Night Night. Yes, as far as I know. Certainly the digital version. If you go to indieplanet.com, that's a comic book that's still available to be delivered. So check out Night Night over there. And you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on radiomisfits.com. And, of course, you can also watch my videos over on BitChute.